Yeah, I would say that Nigerian educational system is undergoing a very serious transformation to meet up the global practice. And we know a couple of mistakes or what we shouldn't have done. We are doing those corrections now. We are closing gaps. For example, university education, as it was designed, I was supposed to tackle the scientific, research, and come out with a lot of innovation. But somewhere along the line, that is missing. That was missing. We also know that the polytechnic education was supposed to be hands on the job, a lot more practical when you look at the ratio of uh, theory 40%, practical 60%, and this was supposed to constitute the middle manpower. In every economy, the high manpower are seen to be leaders. The middle manpowers seems to be they have more crowd. I'm trying to give you a ratio, one manager to a ratio of 300 people, two supervisors to a ratio of 300 people, or 150 each. So university education was supposed to maintain that leadership in design and research, but you need more people to transform or transfer that research into production. And that was why the polytechnic education was supposed to take care of that. So we were missing that. But recently, we are making a lot of improvement. Special thanks to the Executive Secretary of NBTA, Professor Idris Bugaje. Since he came into office, there have been a lot of transformation in the polytechnic education. He has brought in skill, Devt. He has done everything humanly possible to make sure that polytechnic education is lifted and that people take back their pride of practical production. And that's what is happening now. That's why I'm saying we are having this improvement. Let's look at the federal government policy, the Renew Hope agenda, giving a directive for skill training to return back to secondary schools. These are beautiful changes that we know will bring in a lot of productivity improvement in the country's economy. Gone are the days when people come out from the university only with a degree and you do not have skill. But today, it is now mandatory. You come out with a degree and you should be able to have 1 or 2, 3 skills attached to that. The Polytechnic, the same thing. And of course, this institution, Ibom Metropolitan Polytechnic, has been in the forefront. We have been the pace setter, to be very honest with you. When we started this Polytechnic since 2014, we came out with the slogan, one Polytechnic, 2 qualifications. The idea was that you will not just go away with your national diploma and HND, but you should be able to have a proficiency training, something that you are good for, which can form a part of your earning power. Education is complementary, but your profession should see you through. So this is the only institution that started that as far back 2014, and we've been championing that. Don't forget that this institution came out as College of Petroleum since 2001. We were the first petroleum training college in the whole country. Why? Because we saw and we know that if there's anything that sustained Nigeria economy, it was oil and gas up till today. But how come we have oil and gas? The institution that supports the activities in the oil and gas were not to be found, apart from PTI in a fruit. I mean, how are we looking at things? This is the raw material you have. This is the product you have. You abandon it and go into something you don't have. How are you going to survive? So we ended up having a lot of expatriates flooding the oil and gas industries, and our people denied employment. I took that up because I felt I needed to do that. Even if I can't do any other thing in this world, let me just do that to give our people a chance, relevant skills needed in the oil and gas for them to participate in economic activities. That's what we achieved. So in the other word, these changes will continue. This institution, for example, the current governor, Pastor Mo Obasieno, PhD, he has passion for education. He is supporting educational system in the state. And you know, when you look at their RISE program, there are so many things in that fingerprints. One of them is tourism, hospitality. If you check around the whole country, hotel business is booming. I think after churches, the next thing is hotel business. But do you know that in the whole of Akwa Ibom State, there is no institution that supports hospitality and tourism apart from Ibom Metropolitan Polytechnic? So we are not just looking at, we are looking at the economic growth. We are looking at the development of the country, but we need to raise manpower that supports the economic system. It's not enough setting up an institution and the institution that does support your economic system. What was it for? It's stressing us, but we must do it because this is what we have passion for. So in support of their RISE agenda, we have gone ahead and acquire equipment and set up facilities, invited NBTE, and they came in here and accredited a department of tourism and leisure, or leisure and tourism, and also Department of Group Hospitality and Hotel Management. It's the only institution in Akwa Ibom State that is doing this. We know that for you to sustain hospitality and tourism business, you must train people that are qualified to run and to man this industry. And so we are doing our job that supports the government, plans or programs. That's what we are doing. I'm sure in the recent time you've heard that even the federal government is trying to reduce hardship by first of all tackling the causes of hardship. Cost of transportation is really causing hardship. And because the petrol price petroleum pump price is high, a common man cannot afford petrol to run their generators, to run their vehicles, and they pay highly to be able to run these things. And that triple effect impacted transportation system, which also goes down to the consumers system. So the federal government, through the program of His Excellency Bola Tinubu Ahmed, Renewed Hope Agenda, has come out to say, fine, let us see which way we can reduce cost of transportation so that the prices of commodities in the market can equally come down. And that's how they launched in CNG, compressed natural gas fuel. And I understand 1 liter of CNG will do more job than 1 liter of petrol, and it's cheaper, and the energy is cleaner. And so it's a beautiful way to go. In Akwa Ibom State, we are the first. Ibom Metropolitan Polytechnic is the first, to embrace that technology. We had to go all out and order equipment worth over 50 million naira, send our staff to training at Institute of Transport, Nigerian Institute of Transport Technology, NITT. We've trained over 5 staffs from there, and they're very expensive, and we did that because we needed people to come and man our CNG center. Our CNG center has been set up very beautifully just within the campus. All the equipments are available. The staffs are available. What we are waiting for now is patronage. Let the state government, federal government, whoever, patronize us by giving us vehicle to convert from petrol to CNG. Or if they already had CNG vehicle, because I'm aware that my governor, a very performing governor indeed, Pastor Moino, has already made plans to order CNG vehicles, trucks, and all that, even tricycle. So we are already prepared. And that's what I'm telling you again, that we are one institution in this state that is watching the dynamics of technology, of economic development, and key into it. So it's not an institution as usual, because putting a round hole in a square peg is, a square peg in a round hole, it doesn't match. And that's what leads to unemployment everywhere. So if you know what you have, you know your strength, our educational system should be prepared to support that strength. So that's what IMP is doing. It's stressing us financially. Federal government is not coming to our aid. The state government is giving us support, but we need more. So that's what I see in education. So in Nigerian celebrating another independence, day, in education center, in the sector, I want to say Nigeria is doing fairly pretty well. Yes, we are improving, and we still need to continue to emphasize on the need for skillful education, skill acquisition training, specialized training. Let me tell you again that even the training we are talking about, it's very possible when you call somebody on the street, say, how many skills do you know? Which work do you want to learn? It's in your fingertip. Hairdressing, carpentry, welding, fashion, and so on, perhaps computer training. But there are over 5,000 skills. There are over 5,000 skills. So we need to embrace it, because what makes other people better than us is they have seen this earlier on and embrace more skills. If there's employment opportunity or industry in Akwa Ibom today, you realize that Akwa Ibom people may not have a chance to join that industry for the fact that they don't have relevant skills. So skills can be said to be split into 3 categories. Industrial skills, which is meant for people that want to work in industries. Entrepreneurial skills, which is meant for people that want to set up their small business and be an employer of labor. Of course, you still have domestic skills. Domestic skill, gardening, we talk about hospitality, catering, and all that. They are very vital skills to learn. Let me go back to the hospitality field. Most hotels in this state, some are shutting down. Not because there's no patronage. There's very serious patronage because this state is very peaceful. It's very clean. They have good food. It's good for tourism, people to come and relax. But some of these hotels that are shut down is not because they don't have patronage, but it's because they don't have qualified hands to manage the hotels. I'll give you, for example, when you enter a hotel, there's what they call housekeepers. There's what they call room service. There's what we call front desk officer. These three jobs are professional jobs that is taught in school. They are taught in schools. Now, you don't have somebody that knows how to attend to somebody in front desk. He doesn't have that customer friendly. He's not professional. He may stop your hotel because some guests who are very sensitive to how they are welcome, and if they notice that that hotel is not getting it right, next time they will not be there. What about the room service? Who brings food for you in the room? How is the presentation? How is the professional setting of serving you food? I've seen people serve food in a hotel without water. You have to stand up and call again, please get me water. What about the housekeepers? Some hotels room you enter, it smells like toilet. Beautiful luxury hotel, but not well kept. Do you know there's a certain chemical you should use to clean the room, to freshen up the room in such a way that once you open the door and enter, it's like you're already in paradise. If you check like 5-star hotel, they've managed to have good hands. But other ones that we are building around, my brother, some places are, in a very sorry stage. So what are we saying now? It's lack of the right manpower. So we need to groom manpower to support tourism industry. Tourism, again, is a very big business that can turn economy around. And Akwa Ibom State, courtesy of our governor, he has passion in tourism as well. Of course, he's a hospitality expert, and he has kept Akwa Ibom united, peaceful, secured. This should be one of the, I think it's, if not the only state, it should be one of the states in the whole of the South and Southeast that enjoy the kind of peace that we have. So our hotels need to be kept in order. So manpower development is a key, and Ibom Metropolitan Polytechnic is in alignment. Skilled. Oil and gas will continue to be in this country, in this state, for the next 50 years or 100 years. So learning a skill, specialized skill, industrial skill that is relevant in the petroleum industry is not a waste of time. And the more people that embraces these skills, is more millionaires we are going to produce in the future. Why are we turning our back from the oil and gas and allowing expatriate foreigners to invade the place? Is there any other highly paying job that is higher than oil and gas? We've made a lot of sensitization for people to embrace oil and gas, and see, up till now the place is still dried. But what do they want? So oil and gas is a key factor to address, the manpower in the oil and gas. I've heard government, some other people doing training for oil and gas, only for them to go and do what they call safety. Safety is a mandatory course even for people, the pastors in the church and everybody, because safety is everybody's concern. So it's not only oil and gas that uses safety. So if they ask you, come and train for oil and gas, and when you go it is safety, that will not take you to oil and gas. Go and study refining and oil and gas production, or drilling, maintenance of pipeline, corrosion maintenance, and other equipment that is found in the oil and gas facilities. What of air condition and heating, HVAC? Those are powerful skills. What of crane operations? These are powerful skills. What about DCS operation? What about process, which covers production, oil and gas, and refining? What about drilling, rig? There are so many skills that can still take a large number of Ibom people in the industry and make them rich. So we need to go there. And we talk about what the governor is doing, a RISE program, looking at the tourism sector, looking at the hospitality sector. We have just mentioned some of those skills that we need to embrace. Forget about learning this thing on the roadside, because it's not enough to cut vegetable and make soup and it tastes well, you put Maggi. It's not about Maggi, but you need to learn safety, food safety, and you need to have the right qualification. If it is a country that people insurance is very strong, if you work in a hotel that you don't have the relevant qualification and somebody get food poisoning, it's a problem to that hotel. So it's important. What about the CNG skill that we are talking about now? It's a new, it's a game changer. The CNG that's going to reduce or replace petroleum fuel with compressed natural gas. So these are skills and area we need to focus on.